about this section began with the need to avoid being afraid. To avoid being afraid. Sometimes you get overwhelmed by some of the realities of life. So of course, again, that's where Emunah comes in, and Emunah helps to stabilize us. Emunah helps to remind us that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything is for good, everything's there to teach me a lesson. Yesterday, again, the Mechaber spoke to us about this idea of finding for ourselves a Rebbe, finding for ourselves what he calls someone who is a Baal Seichel, someone who's able to help me address my situation, but with objectivity, without getting overwhelmed with it, like sometimes I do with my own personal situations, but to have someone outside of me who can help guide and direct me towards making the right life decisions. So now we come to this next section. Through learning Torah, now it's interesting. B'koach, we're saying, part of I remember it's when I came back, when I went to yeshiva at Eretz Yisrael, and the mashgiach was giving. There used to be a shmooze every Thursday night, and the mashgiach was giving a shmooze, and he said, actually like fire and brimstone. I'm not sure I would advocate this approach, for now. I don't think it works as well. All right. So when I was a child in the shtetl, so things were very different. So he was speaking about the idea that he's saying the problem with us, meaning he was speaking to us, and people. So the problem with us is you want to become Gedolei Hadar, but you want to go ahead and learn Torah with your feet up on the couch, a can of Coke on your hand, and the sun shining down on you. He said, that's not how Torah is acquired. He said, you could ingest information like that, but Torah is acquired with koach. Torah is acquired ultimately, again, with mesiras nefesh, with self-sacrifice. Torah is not acquired simply by making sure that you're as comfortable as can be, holding up a sefer, and everything is wonderful. He said, Torah is acquired through effort, through koach. And this is very important because we know this, and again, we know this because it's 5:45 in the morning. We know this, but we know this because there's a difference with your learning when you have to push yourself to do something versus when you're comfortable, everything is easy, and things are just happening smoothly. There's a fundamental distinction in that Torah. So he says, ideally, Torah b'koach, zochem linatzal mishigaon. When a person learns Torah with koach, meaning Torah that comes as a result of, if I'm coming to learn, it's because I'm giving up something. Whether it's this event, whether it's this amount of sleep, whatever it may be, that's Torah b'koach. Torah b'koach helps to give you a certain level of clarity, helps to give you a certain level of inner quiet, and it literally saves you from the craziness. Kimuva, the Yitzhahara wants to make a person meshuga. This is according over here again, Rabbi Nachman. The Yitzhahara, we'll say, actually, we saw this already in Mesilas Yesharim. Remember, again, a number of years back when we were learning the Ramchal said, if you remember, that the way the Yitzhahara works is the Yitzhahara doesn't try to entice me to sin. Why not? Because the Yitzhahara knows that if he launches a frontal attack and tries to get me to sin, I'll repel it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a good person. I know that sin is wrong. I don't want to get caught up in this snare of sin. So I will repel the frontal attack. So you remember again, what did the Ramchal say? The way the Yitzhahara works is he makes me exceptionally busy, or at least I think I'm exceptionally busy. He makes me exceptionally busy, and so there's no time for anything. There's no time, including my own spiritual growth and development. According to Rabbi Nachman, has a little bit of a different take on this. Rabbi Nachman says that the way the Yitzhahara works is he makes me meshuga. What does it mean the Yitzhahara makes me meshuga? We'll say, when do people become mishugaim? When their heads is all over the place. I have no clarity. I have no direction. I have no vision. I have no plan. I have no clear dreams or aspirations. That's when a person becomes meshuga. And the moment that a person becomes meshuga, the moment that a person lacks that clarity, we make all kinds of negative decisions. So he goes on, he says, because we'll say, this is actually quite interesting. The entire notion of committing an Aveira is craziness, is meshuga. Why? It's quoting over here again, the Gemara Masechah Sota, we learned this together. that a person only commits an avera if what? Imkin nichnas bo ruach shtos. If a spirit of foolishness, of silliness, of craziness enters into me, then ultimately again a person will go ahead and commit that avera. I will say now, what does this mean? So on a very simple level, it's a very simple spiritual experiment that one could do, which is if you take out a piece of paper, I will say, and you draw two columns on a piece of paper. One says pros, one says cons. And you go ahead and you write the name of the avera you want to commit on the top of the paper. And sit down for 5 minutes and write down the list of pros and cons. Because let's be honest, there are pros to sinning. There's no question that there are pros, that there are benefits to sinning. Sit down and make the list. I will say, we all know that I can make you a money-back guarantee that which side will always win. And I don't mean it's just on a spiritual, I know like on a concrete level, which side will always win, right? Everybody should be answering this unanimously, right? But the idea is the cons will always win. I'll tell you for one simple reason. Whatever I'm going to get out of the hate, and again, there may be many things, they're going to be limited and temporal. Meaning, so I'll get benefit, I'll get pleasure, I'll get happiness, I'll get a lot of stuff. But whatever the stuff I'm going to get, whatever the pros are, there's a shelf life to all of those pros. At a certain point in time, the ability to enjoy them is going to be exceptionally limited, masha'inkein, as opposed to the fallout from hate. The fallout of hate, the negative ripple effects of hate, the negative repercussions of sin could be felt for all eternity. And by the way, as you know, that's not hyperbole. I'm not making a dramatic hyperbolic statement. That's the truth. That sometimes the fallout from hate could literally be with me, even when I'm no longer in this world. So therefore, again, if it's true that every single time I'm about to sin, if I make that cost-benefit analysis, that pros and cons analysis, that cons will always win, then what's the obvious question? Then why do I do it? And the answer is because often it's not a rational thing. That's what Chazal are saying. The truth is, there's not really a rational explanation for sin. It's foolishness. There's a ruach shtos. There's a certain spirit of foolishness that overcomes me. Now, the way the Mechaber is reframing that, I will say, is that sin ultimately ends up happening when a person lacks clarity. When I lack clarity, when I'm a little bit meshuga in life, when, again, my moral compass, my life compass, my spiritual compass is not, I don't know what the right word is, but not in alignment. I don't know alignment is the right word, but not calibrated. It's not calibrated the right way. We'll say that's when things go wrong. That's in Adam Chote Ela Inki Nichnas V'Ruach Shtos. Therefore, so much of life is figuring out how do I achieve inner moral spiritual clarity? How do I properly calibrate my life compass? Because only once that is properly calibrated do I have the ability to make the right decision. So we'll stop over here for today. We're going to pick up tomorrow again with focusing on the impact of Talmud Torah, the impact of learning, and the ability of pure Torah to be able to calibrate my moral compass.
Is this different than the Yitzhak?
I don't need it. Thank you. I'm sorry?
It's different than the Yitzhak.
The Yitzhak is a manifestation of my Mishigas.
And Ruach Shtus is something...
The Ruach Shtus is a state of being. The Ruach Shtus is a state of being where I'm foolish. I'm foolish because I'm not living life with clarity. You know, what does it mean to make decisions without inner clarity? That's called foolishness. Sorry. All right. All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin. A lot to do today. The beautiful, beautiful block of Gemara ahead of us. Today's daf is Kuf Ches. Amazingly enough, what you're going to see, it's not today, but I'll give you coming attractions for tomorrow. There's going to be just an incredible tie into the Parshas HaShavua, which is going to be quite beautiful. Our shir this morning Shirim this month are dedicated by Yonah Shishi Ehrenfeld, who have dedicated the shir in memory of Yonah's grandfather, Gedalia ben Yaakov HaKohen. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah's Neshama will have an aliyah and his family in Nechama. We also go ahead and dedicate our name as Chusab Shlima for Yehuda Klonis Ben Goldadina, who's having a procedure today, with the hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, his procedure will be successful and we'll have a complete and enduring refuah.
Amen.
So let's begin. Today's daf Kuf Ches 108. We are picking up the Mishnah. Kuf Zayin Amud Beis 107b. Says the Mishnah. Dor HaMabul Eilam Chayv V'Olam Haba. The Dor HaMabul, generation of the flood, does not have a portion in the world to come. Vein Omdin Badin. Now, both say this is an interesting dynamic because we've seen this a little too before. There are some people who don't have a portion in the world to come and also receive divine judgment. And then there is another group who don't receive a portion in the world to come, but they also aren't judged. In other words, there's no judgment for them. So they kind of exist in this in-between state, where on one hand, they are not admitted entry into Olam Haba, but on the other hand, there's no divine judgment that ultimately purges them of their Averos as well. So what do they do? So remember again, we saw Rashi from a few days ago who explained that their neshamas, their souls just seem to fly around, shatin ba'olam. They just seem to fly around and just exist, which Rabbi says is an amazing thing, by the way. So you say to yourself, well, one second, that sounds a lot better than what? Than Gehenna. I will say it's not. And I'll tell you something amazing. You know, Gehenna, as much as nobody looks forward to it, there is one positive byproduct, which is it is a cleansing, cathartic experience. What it does is it cleanses the neshama. It cleanses the neshama, and ultimately, at some point in time, whenever that may be, allows the neshama to move on. I will say the worst thing in life, and this ties into what the worst thing in life is to be aimless, right? The worst thing in life is just like to fly around for all eternity and to not know where you're going, what you're doing, and say, hey, but it's not Gehenna. I will say better to be in Gehenna and know what you're doing and know what your purpose is and know that there's a tachlis than to fly around the world aimlessly and listlessly. Incredible isod. So Gemara goes back to Shneimar, lo yodun ruchi ba'adam la'olam li'olam lo din v'lo ruach. So the Gemara says the following: Flaga. So the generation of the dispersion is Migdal Bavel. They have no portion of the world to come. Shneimar, v'yafetz Hashem osam misham alpanei kol haaretz. V'yafetz Hashem osam ba'olam hazeh. God scattered them in this world. Umisham hefitzam, and from there He scattered them. Li'olam haba. They are first in the world to come. So we'll say what the Gemara is just picking up over here is that a lot of these psukim have like a double lashon of dispersion or a double lashon of punishment. So the way the Gemara is understanding that double lashon ultimately again is that one punishment in this world, one punishment in the world to come. The Gemara goes back to Anshe Sdom. What's in the sixth parasha? Anshe Sdom. Have no portion in the world to come. Shneimar v'Anshe Sdom ro'im v'chatam la'Hashem. Mode. Ro'im ba'olam hazeh. They were evil in this world. V'chatam li'olam haba. And they are still considered sinners in the world to come. Aval omdin badin. However, Anshe Sdom Rabosai do have to stand ultimate divine judgment. And Nehemiah says, Elu v'elu. And Nehemiah says, both Anshe Dor HaMabul and Anshe Sdom Ein Omdin Badin do not face final judgment. Shneimar, Akim lo yakumu l'she'in top of Kufches, Rishem b'mishpat v'chatoim ba'adas tzadikim. So the pasuk says, Akim lo yakumu l'she'in b'mishpat. Therefore, again, the wicked will not stand in judgment. Zed Dor HaMabul. This refers to the generation of the blood, of the flood. V'chatoim ba'adas tzadikim, and the wicked in the assembly of the righteous. Elu Anshe Sdom. This ultimately refers to the people of Sdom. Therefore, again, I will say this is the raya. This is right from Nehemiah that neither of these generations have to face ultimate din. Amrlo, they said to him, Einam omden ba'adas tzadikim. No, all the pasuk tells me is that these individuals do not stand in the assembly of the righteous, but they do stand in the assembly of the wicked, and by standing in the assembly of the wicked, ultimately that means that they are facing judgment. Miraglim, Elam Chayv Olam Haba. We'll say the Miraglim, the spies do not have a portion of the world to come. Shneimar, Vayamusa Anoshim Motzii Dibas Haaretz, Motzii Dibas Haaretz, Ra'ab Magefa, Lifnei Hashem, Vayamusu Ba'olam Hazeh. So when the pasuk says they died, it means they died in this world. The Magefa and a plague Olam Haba, that refers to the death in the world to come. David, Dor HaMidbar, the generation of the desert, have no portion in the world to come. Ve'ein omdin badin. And both again, they have no final judgment. Shneimar, Midbar hazeh yitamu, b'sham yamutu divrei Rabbi Akiva. Because the pasuk says in this desert they will die, and it is there that they will. Excuse me, I should say in this desert yitamu they will cease to exist. B'sham yamusu, and there they will die. So again, same idea, double lashon of death and destruction, meaning death in this world and in the next. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Eliezer Omer. Aleimu Omer, it's not true about them. The pasuk says, "Asui." Gemara's over quoting from the pasuk from Tehillim. Isfuli chasidai karsei brisi alai zevach. So we'll see in the Gemara exactly what Rabbi Eliezer is coming to add with this particular pasuk. Adas Korach, the assembly of Korach, Eina asida la'alos. We'll say will not ascend them. The pashtus, what that means is will not ascend from Gehenna. That's what it sounds like. Will not descend from Gehenna. Shnei Amar, utchas aleim haaretz ba'olam hazeh, vayotu mitoch hakal li'olam haba. Pasuk says the earth covered them up in this world, and they were lost from amongst the assembly in the world to come. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Eliezer Omer aleim. Rabbi Eliezer says no, it's not true about them. It is said Hashem neimis u'mechaye. About them, both the pasuk says God kills, brings to death, and He brings back to life. Morid Sha'ol. He puts people down in the depths, vayal, and He brings them up. So we'll say this idea is to Adas Korach, the Gemara suggesting, Misha suggests to Adas Korach, who were swallowed up by the earth, but ultimately again will be brought back up as well. So we'll say, so here is the Mishnah's exhaustive list on a we'll call it generational or group level. Up until now, we're dealing with individuals who do not have a portion of Olam Haba. Here the Mishnah focus is on either groups or unfortunately entire generations. Says the Gemara, the generation of the flood does not have a portion in the world to come. We're on Kuf Ches Amud Aleph 108a, second of the widest lines. So the pasuk says, the Chadosh Baruch Hu went ahead and wiped out all living things that were on the face of the earth. So also Rabbi Akiva understands the double lashon of wiping out. We're erasing to be referenced to wiping out in this world and wiping out in the world to come. Rabbi Yehuda says no. Lo chayim also means that they will not come back to life. There's no resurrection for them. There's no olam haba. There's no tchias hamesim. But also lo danin. But ultimately, again, they are not. They are also not judged. So they're kind of in this in-between stage. Shneimar lo yodon ruchi ba'adam li'olam lo din v'lo ruach. Davar acher was another possibility. Lo yodon ruchi shalote nishmasan chozeres linad no. So what's the other possibility? What does it mean lo yodin ruchi? It means that their neshamas will not come back. Not none of us. It literally means the sheath of the sword. But in this context, what it means is the body. Rabbi Menachem bar Yosef Omer, afilu b'shah shachalish baruch hu machzir neshamas lepkar mesim nishmasan kasha lahem b'gehenna. So what Rabbi Yosef says that for the generation of the Mabul, even when HaKadosh Baruch Hu performs the miracle of Tchias HaNisim, and He returns the neshamas to the bodies, ultimately again of those who have died, so the Dor HaMabul is not coming back to life. And in that moment, when everyone else is experiencing resurrection, their souls are experiencing pain in Gehenna. Shneimar taru chashash taldu kash ruchachem eish toch lechem. Tan Rabbanon, Dor HaMabul. This is actually a very profound Gemara. Tan Rabbanon, Dor HaMabul, generation of the flood. Lo nisko ela b'shil tova she'eshpia lehen HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Paul said the Dor HaMabul, the generation of the flood, only got themselves into such trouble and became such bali gaiva, so arrogant and so inappropriately self-assured as a result of the brachos that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showered down upon them. In other words, they were so wealthy, so successful, so happy that they forgot about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We'll say, where do we see this? Umak sev b'hem. We'll say, what are the psukim which allude to this dynamic? So again, the Gemara is going to quote a number of psukim actually from Eov. B'ateim shalom lipachad v'lo shevet eloka aleim. Literally, again, bless you. They were shalom in their homes. They feared Noah. Their homes were filled with shalom. Right? There was shalom from pachad. No one had dominion over them. Uksiv. The pasuk goes on. Shoro iber v'lo yagil tefalei parasa v'lo tishakel. The animals became pregnant, and none of the animals miscarried. The Gemara goes weiter. Uksiv. The Gemara goes on. Yishalchu katzon adilehem v'yaladehem yirakedun. Uksiv. Yisu b'sof v'chinar v'yismechu l'kol ugav. I will say in the pasuk says they're rejoicing, sound of the instruments, uksiv, and the pasuk goes on. I will say all psukim from Eov. Yichalu or Yivalu batov yameim uberega shal yichasu. They go ahead and they spend all of their days rejoicing in the good that they have. Uksiv uberega shal yichasu v'garmu. So where uberega shal yichasu. And I will say the pasuk finally says uberega shal yichasu literally means, and in the moment they lose everything and descend down to the shul. And I will say, as a result of all of this good, so again, the Psukim are just telling me, Torah Mabul has everything. As a result, the Garmu Sha'amru Lekel, as a result, the Torah Mabul as a collective said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lo Sha'amru Lekel, Sur Mimenu, Vidas Terakecha Lo Chafatznu. Mashad, so the Pasuk will be again, quoting from Eov, so Sur Mimenu, Vidas Terakecha Lo Chafatznu, Mashakai Kinavdenu, essentially, they say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what do we need you for? What do we need you for? What role do you play in our lives? Amru, you know, the only thing we need God for is rain. The only thing HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides for us that apparently we can't make for ourselves is rain. But even that, we don't really need God, and I'll tell you why. We have plenty of rivers and plenty of natural springs that provide us with the water. So we'll say, so again, it sounds crazy to us, but unfortunately, this is the Achilles heel, the downfall of man. That whenever man is blessed with incredible blessing, and whenever man finally has everything that he wants and everything that he needs, unfortunately, the first person I tend to forget is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what happens? So Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the good that I've showered upon you, you anger me, uba'ani dan osam. And it's through this good, ultimately, again, that I will judge you. Shnei Amar va'ani hineni mevi esama bomai. So in other words, the Rebbe Shalom says, a little bit of a you think the only thing you need me for is rain, and even then you think you don't need me for that because you have the springs, you have the rivers. I'll bring a flood upon you and ultimately destroy the world. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Torah Mabu lo nisga'u ela b'shul galgal ha'ayim shedom elamayim. So Rabbi Yossi also says something very interesting. Torah Mabu became arrogant because of their eyes, literally the roundness of the eyes. It is comparable to water. I will say, if you look at Rashi, Rashi's on the right-hand side, the last of the wide lines on top, the last one on the line. Mishal Galgalayin, Sheroin, Tovasan Shlema, Vayu Gavoin Eneim, Umenafin Afa Eneim. I will say, whatever they saw, they took. Whatever they saw, they took. The Torah Mabul ultimately becomes so arrogant that they said to themselves, if we see it and if we want it, we should be entitled to take it. And as a result, ultimately, again, they were destroyed. The pasuk says they married women from anyone who they wanted. Now, the Mefarshim understand that what that means is, even if she was married to someone else, or even if she was usher to this particular man, if he was stronger than the other, he simply took what it is that he wanted. Therefore, Baruch would judge them with water, because water is similar, ultimately, again, to the eye. Why is it? We'll say just like the vision of the eye comes from the small part, in the middle of the eyeball. So too again, the water came up again from the small springs of the ground. Shneimar nifku kol ma'ayanos tehom rabba va'arbos hashamayim niftachu. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Torah Mabul v'rabba kilku u'b'rabba nidon. We'll say essentially, Rabbi Yochanan says the Torah Mabul sinned big and therefore were punished big. What does this mean? So the wants to Rabbi Kilku Shneimar Vayar Hashem Ki Rabba Ra'a Sa'adam. Chodesh Baruch Hu saw that the sin of man was great. The Chodesh Baruch Hu had committed many significant avelos. U'Rabba Nidonu, and they're judged with Rabba as Shneimar Kol Ma'ayonos Tehom Rabba. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Shlosh Nishtayro Mehem. This is actually interesting. There are 3 hot springs that remained open even after the Mabul concluded. Interestingly enough, when the Mabul concluded, all of the springs are closed off. But when the Mabul is over, 3 of the springs remained open. What are the 3 hot springs that remained open? Belua de Gader. We'll say Belua literally means like a whirlpool. The whirlpool of Gader. Chamek Tveria, the hot springs of Tveria. Ve'ena Rabasi de Biram, and the large spring of Biram. Okay? Because we'll say every living thing had literally destroyed its way on this world. What does this mean? I will say now what the pasuk is talking about is that during the Dor HaMabul, there just was a general moral decay, a societal decay and decadence. So what does that mean? They mated behemoths with chayos. So also remember, behemoths are domesticated animals, chayos are non-domesticated animals. V'chaya al behema, v'hakol al ha'adam. They mated all different kinds of animals with man. In other words, they brought animals upon human beings. V'adam al ha'kol. And man mated with everything as well. So what's a general moral decay? Amr Rabbi Amar Kahana, v'kulam chazu chutz mitu shlami. And I will say, interesting enough, after the Mabul, all of the animals, so to speak, did tshuva. They did tshuva. In other words, the animals stopped. We'll say, if you look in nature, so in general, again, the way nature works is animals generally do not mate out of their species. So therefore, again, that's Gemara attributes that to the tshuva, so to speak, of the animal kingdom in the aftermath of the flood, with one exception, the tushlami. What's the tushlami? So if you take a look on the right-hand side of Rashi, the right-hand column, about 6 lines up from the bottom, chutz mi tushlami, of shu ochiz dain tarbasra shem is davig yemakol. So I don't know what a tushlami is, but it's some type of bird that apparently will still mate with other species. Okay. Vayamar Hashem Noach. So Cheshbon says to Noach, Kitz kol basar balafanai. The end of all living things has come before me. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Bo'u re'ei kama gadol. Excuse me. Bo'u re'ei kama gadol. I'm sorry. Bo'u re'ei kama gadol koach shel chamas. See, unfortunately, how destructive the power of theft is. Sharei dar hamabul avru alakol. So the Dor HaMabul was committed every single avera. They committed all the averos. But yet, their fate was only sealed when they went ahead and they engaged in thievery. Because the land is filled with Hamas, the land is filled with thievery, and therefore I am destroying them. And the pasuk says, "Hamas kam lamata rasha." Excuse me. Pasuk. Morning, Mr. Shulfeld. You want to read quoting from the pasuk. Quoting from the pasuk from Yecheskel. "Hamas kam lamate rasha lo mehem v'lo mehamanam v'lo mehem v'lo noach bahem." So I say, so what does this mean? Amar Abelazar Melamed shezakav atzmo kimakel v'amar lefnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Abelazar says, Kiviyachol, theft stood up before Hakadosh Baruch Hu, straight like a stick. V'amar lefanav ribono shel olam lo mehem v'lo mehamonam v'lo mehemeim v'lo na bahem. Ribono shel olam. Essentially, like if you look at Rashi says it's on the left-hand side of Rashi, shezakav. He says, "Hachamas atzmo kimakel." That literally, like theft, went ahead and came before Hakadosh Baruch Hu and presented itself like an upright stick. And he says, "Lo mehem, ein to'ales lo bahem, v'lo ba'amonam, v'lo b'masa'am." Mem Rashi, fine. So I say the idea over here is that thievery was saying to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Ribono shel olam, even though again they gain nothing. At the end of the day, man gains nothing from theft, right? Because we believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives every single person exactly what it is that they're supposed to have, even though they benefit in no way. Nevertheless, this was the pervasive midah of mankind. Which, by the way, is also just an incredible yesod. This idea, they're doing everything. They're worshiping Avodah Zarah, they're doing all the stuff, but yet it was theft that went ahead and sealed their generational faith for destruction. Telling you what, telling you that at the end of the day, once there is an interpersonal breakdown, the Baal Shalom could tolerate a lot of stuff. What he can't tolerate is a lack of ben adon l'chavero. What he can't tolerate is when we actively abuse and mistreat one another. So theft in and of itself is the greatest interpersonal breakdown. The truth is, even Noach was supposed to be killed with his generation. Except that what? He found favor in the eyes of God. Nichamti ki asisam, v'noach matzachim b'yemei Hashem. V'ayinachim Hashem ki asas ha'adam ba'aretz. Shebal regretted that he made man, or I should say, v'ayinachim means he had a change of heart. He had a change of heart that he went ahead and created man. Ki asar abdimi amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yafa asisi, shetakanti lahem kvaros ba'aretz. Shebal Shalom says, it's a good thing that I went ahead and created for them graves in the world. And as Moshe Shalom says, at least the good thing is if man makes a mistake, I could easily rectify the mistake. How do I rectify the mistake? Kill the Rasha, bury him in the ground, and we're done. and we're done. The Gemara says, other opinion says, my mashma, ksiv hacha vayinachim Hashem, or ksiv hasam vayinachim osam vayidabre al libam. Vikdar also others say, lo yafa asisi shetakatlan kvaras baras. The other opinion also says, who says, I didn't do a good thing to create graves for them in the ground. Why? We'll say, if you look at Rashi, lo yafa asisi, the afshar hayu chosen. I'll say, this is amazing. According to this Ikidamri, the Ribono Shel Olam laments or sometimes regrets punishing the Rishayim. Why? Because God says, maybe had I given them more time, they would have done tshuva. It will say, so now this is the amazing Rachmanis of the Ribono Shel Olam. The truth is, chances are, even without more time, we wouldn't have done tshuva. Man wouldn't have done tshuva. But the Rachmanis of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that even when He warns us, gives us time, and we don't do tshuva, He still potentially laments the fact that He punished us, because perhaps had He given us even more time, we perhaps would have done tshuva. Eila told us Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'daras. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. So we'll say, so now we're going to come to some famous gemaras. So remember the pasuk says that Noach was an ish tzadik, a righteous man, a tamim, a complete individual, b'dorosav, in his generation. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. He was only what we'll call a relative tzaddik. He was a tzaddik because of the generation he lived in. Because everyone else was a rasha, everyone else was so terrible, and therefore, again, compared to them, Noach was a tzaddik. So also that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish says, no, if he was a tzaddik in such a depraved generation, then what? Then certainly had he lived in a different generation, he would have been a tzaddik as well. Am Rabbi Chanina, Mashal Rabbi Yochanan. So we'll say, to what can we compare what's the mashal to illustrate Rabbi Yochanan's position? Rabbi Yochanan says that Noach was a relative tzaddik. He was a tzaddik b'darosov in his generation, but he wouldn't have been a tzaddik in a different generation. To what could this be compared? L'chavish shayayin, like a barrel of wine, she'esamunachas b'martiv shel chometz. The Davosai was situated in a vinegar cellar. In a vinegar cellar. So what happens? Ben koma reichanodev shalom kol inrachim. So we'll say, when you have the wine next to the vinegar, so the smell, the scent of the wine is much more pronounced. But if the wine were not next to the vinegar, so the truth is you wouldn't necessarily recognize the scent of the wine. So too a Noach who lives in a generation of vinegar, so the scent of his wine barrel, even though it's what? Even though that wine is what you're saying? I mean, it's like Manischewitz, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Meaning it's not, it's not anything so great. But nevertheless, again, because it's sitting next to vinegar, so l'maisa, again, it smells good. I'm going to be We'll say about Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish is the one who says that Noach is a true tzaddik. Then if Noach was a tzaddik in the generation he lived, certainly what? He would have been a tzaddik in a different generation as well. So what could we speak of? So I'll say like a flask of perfume. So we'll say that it's sitting in a place like a garbage dump where there's a bad odor. So what happens? So we'll say if you can smell the perfume in the middle of the garbage dump, then what? Then I will say all the more so you can go ahead and what? You could smell it in a place where there's better smells. In other words, if the smell is strong enough that you can smell it in the garbage dump, then you could certainly smell it in a place that's not a garbage dump as well. So we'll say, so again, fundamental machlokes ultimately between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish about the identity of Noach. I'll just tell you, how do we paskin? They will say, when in doubt, always judge people favorably. So if there's a machlokes, we'll paskin like the one who says that Noach was an absolute tzaddik. Again, if we're wrong, Kadosh Baruch Hu, believe me, that's not what we're going to be held accountable for after 120. But when in doubt about someone's tzidkus, you always go l'kula. You always go leniently and always give a person the benefit of the doubt. So also remember, the Rebbe wipes out everything on the face of the earth. If a person sinned, so what did the animals do? In other words, why are you wiping out the animals? I was saying the truth is the Gemara already answered this, because even the animals were corrupt, but the Gemara beforehand seemed to indicate that the moral corruption of the animals was because of man. So why were the animals wiped out? This is actually a very beautiful Gemara. This can be compared to a man who set up a wedding feast for his son. So So we'll say what happens, and he set up a beautiful, beautiful suda, beautiful meal. His son died before the wedding. What does he do? He throws out all of the food. He throws out all of the beautiful decor, all of the flowers. Why? I only made all of this for my son. Now that my son is dead, what do I need all of these beautiful chapters? Also, listen to the profundity of this Gemara. We'll say, why did you know that Rabbi Shmuel created the world? This Baruch Hu created the world for us. Created the world for us, the whole world. It was like, by the way, I think I mentioned this to you. Rav Kook, was stuck in Switzerland during World War I. So he couldn't get back to Eretz. He went fundraising. He was stuck in Switzerland. So one day he says to his host, he says that, can you take me to see the Alps? So the host was a bit surprised because like the Rav is living in Yerushalayim. He's living there. I don't remember I don't know if Rav Kook was the Rav of Yerushalayim yet, or if he was still in Yaffa. I don't remember. But the Rav is there, so waiting to see the Alps. So different versions of the story. But essentially, one of the versions says, Rav Kook says, what do you think? God just created the Alps for the Gentiles? What do you think? Like Jews had Yerushalayim, Lakewood, Borough Park, Baltimore. Like that's what we have in the world, and that's it, nothing else. So Rav Kook says, Moshe created the Alps for me also. So I want to see how Baruch created both an incredible yisod. The Moshe created everything in this world for us. And by the way, us also doesn't just mean Jews. Us means humanity. Baruch created a beautiful world for us to enjoy, for us to benefit from. If we use it to come closer to Him, then fantastic. We endow everything with meaning. However, God forbid if we abuse it and misuse it. Baruch Hu says, I don't need a world without man. So therefore, if I'm erasing man, as was done by the Mapul, I'm erasing the world as well. It's an incredible, incredible yisod. So the Gemara goes weiter. So all the animals on the earth died. Amazingly enough, the fish in the sea did not die. So you might say, get ready for this. The Gemara tells something that is going to undo every single thing you ever learned about Noah. Everyone thinks, they call Noah a tzaddik in pelts. He called Noah that he's a tzaddik who wears the fur coat. What does that mean? Meaning that as long as he was born, we didn't care about everyone else. It's not true. It's not true. The Gemara says over here, quoting the pasuk from Eov, that ultimately, again, what did Noach do? Noach gave them musar. He told mankind, get your act together. Do tshuva. And if you don't do tshuva, God is going to destroy the world. And your bodies will be floating on the surface of the water like wineskins. And I both say, why the dramatic imagery? Both say sometimes people need to be shocked in order to go ahead and act. Sometimes you have to say shock. Be careful how you do it. And be careful when you use this idea. But ultimately, again, sometimes people need to be shocked. And they need to say, what is the matter with you? You're going to end up floating on the top of the water like a wineskin. Now, never use that particular lashon, because I don't think it's going to, but what Noach was saying is, we're going to die. We're going to die. Your bodies will be floating like carcasses on top of the water. Is that what you want? Not only that, but ultimately, again, klala is going to divert, meaning you will become the paradigmatic examples of divine wrath for inaction. So the Gemara says, so what does it mean, lo yifnei derech kramim? So let's listen to this. So it turns out, imagine this image. Noach is having this conversation with people. Who are these people? Stam, regular people. And he's saying, do tshuva. Now, as he's having this conversation, what are they doing? They're clearing out the pathways to the vineyards. So Amrulo, Umima Akev. So the people say such an incredible insight to human nature. So they said to Noach, like, let me just ask you, this whole flood thing, is this happening now? So Noach says, no. They said, why not? Well, if God is so upset, why isn't it happening now? I mean, what's preventing it from happening now? So Amrullah, Noach said, listen, pray da'achas yeshlo, lahotzi mikem. The Baal Shalom says, I have one. I'll say, pray da literally means a dove. I have one beautiful dove who's still alive, whose merit is keeping the entire world alive. We'll say, who is the dove? Who is Mr. Shelach? Mesushalach was the one tzaddik in addition to Yonah, whose zuchus was sustaining all of humanity. So Noach says to him, listen, the flood's not coming out because Mesushalach is alive, and as long as he's alive, you're going to be fine. So we'll say, get ready for this. Amadeus, in came, lo nifla they're coming. So what do the people say? Well, if that's the case, we don't really have to clean out the vineyard now. We'll say, which is another way of saying, and we'll say, such an incredible insight. Noach almost had them. Meaning he's telling them, listen, you need to do tshuva, you need to change the world, you need to change yourselves. And they said, oh, okay, like, is this happening today? And I will say, what would have been amazing is if what? If it would have said yes. If it would have said, yes, it's happening today. If you don't change right now, it's happening today. Perhaps he could have gotten them. But what happens with Mosai? He gives them an out. What's the out? The Mosai, the greatest enemy of man is the ability to procrastinate. The ability of man, the greatest enemy is the ability to kick the can down the road. But once they hear that they're not in imminent danger, once they hear that Mesushalach is alive, and it's okay, lo nifna derech kramim. You know what? So literally they're saying, well, we don't have to do our manual labor. Let's just take the rest of the day off and we'll have a good time. We're okay for now. But lo nifna derech kramim also means that we don't have to do the work that we have to. What's an incredible yisod in life? If Dura Mabul could have been saved had they taken immediate action. We could be so much further along in our journey in life if instead of talking about the things we have to do and contemplating things we have to do and thinking about things that should do it. Do it. There might be more time, but do it now. If only we would take decisive action in the moment that it's clear that action needs to be taken, how different we would be, how different our lives would be. Torah Shrava, my dichsiv. Just so you understand. That's the point of all of these Gemaras. Like, this is not like story time with Shmuel Silber. This is like understand the point of all of these Gemaras is in order to go ahead and learn these moral, ethical lessons. The world was destroyed, not because people sinned. People always sin. The world was destroyed because people procrastinated. That's why the world was destroyed. Humanity was wiped out because of procrastination. Those say dreams are wiped out because of procrastination. People lose traction in life. People don't become the people they could become. They end up being rooted in their present mediocrity because of procrastination. We destroy our own worlds because of procrastination. It's overwhelming. Okay, Darash Rava, my dichsiv. I will say second line down, Kuf Chasam days. You have to add more caffeine to the coffee. It's pretty exciting stuff. I was just saying. Good, thank you for that. Good. You can start the wave or something. I don't know. The sieve. So the rest of the pasuk goes on. The pasuk goes from Iyov. Lapid buz la sosa. Pasuk is entirety is lapid buz la ashosus shanon nochod l'moadei regel. So what does this mean? Malamid shenoach hasadik mochiach osam. Noach was giving them musar. Va'amar lahem dvarim shem kashim kilapidin. This again. This is also amazing. Everybody thinks that Noach just sat back and built his teva. It's not true. He was giving them musar. Now, it could be, by the way. He was telling them things that literally were like as strong as fire. And I will say they would agree. And I will say it could be, by the way, could be that. And again, we don't know because we weren't there, obviously. That it could be that the musar was wrong. And I will say some people respond to fire and brimstone. Most people do not. Most people respond to love. Most people respond to being built up. It could be that, I don't know, maybe they needed it, but they weren't ready to listen. Maybe it was the wrong kind of musar, whatever it is. Noach is giving them musar. And in response, we'll say, what did they say? Mevazin also. We'll say, generally, the way you know you've hit a nerve with someone is if you tell them something and their response is a personal attack. If you point something out to someone and they respond to it with a personal attack, generally that means you hit a nerve. Generally, it hits a nerve, and a person doesn't have the ability to be makabel the musar that you're giving. So what happens? Amrulo Zalgain Teva Zulama, old man, what are you doing with this ark? So listen. I told you, God's bringing a flood. Amrulo Mabul Shalma. So they said, "No, what kind of flood? Meaning, where is the water coming from?" Imabul shall eish yishon davar acher va'alisa shma. So if we go ahead, if God is going to bring down a flood of fire, in other words, if God is going to incinerate the world, it's okay. We've got this thing called alisa. So I will say alisa apparently was some type of like fire-resistant thing. Whether this was something supernatural, whatever it was, you're saying we can protect ourselves against fire. V'im shalmaimu maybe, and if God wants to bring a flood of water, it's okay. If he wants to bring the flood from the waters of the earth, not a problem. Yesh lanu ashashios shel barzel. We have metal plates that we could place over the springs to cap the water. And if he's going to bring a lot of rain from the heavens, we have this thing I will say, this akev, which apparently was like a spongy type of material of plant, and we could just soak up all the water. I will say, what you hear the Musar? The Musar is we can't spend so much time figuring out answers, and instead of figuring out answers, we should figure out actions instead of answers. They've got all the answers. I was say what they're saying is, if you notice again, they don't say a mabul. We don't deserve a mabul, meaning they're molded to the fact that they're leading depraved lives. So instead of saying, well, let's change it, they say, it's okay. We have this fire-resistant stuff. We have these big sponges. We'll be just fine. I've also, when you spend your life creating answers instead of taking action, that's when you get yourself into a lot of trouble. Who may be mibein ikvei ragleichem. So we'll say, so Noach at this point is being a bit stark, and literally again he says, if God wants to bring a mabul, he can bring a mabul from between your feet. The boss said between your feet literally means from between your legs. Because he's saying that if he wants to bring a mabul of zera, of semen, and to drown you in that, he can bring you a mabul of that. So we'll say the idea that Noach is saying is, you can't protect yourself against the wrath of God. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Listen to what you're saying. Can you imagine this conversation? Noach, on the other hand, is building a big boat, right? And he said, well, so everybody looks like a shtickle crazy in all of this, right? Meaning they're getting sponges and metal plates. He's building a big boat. So it's like the whole thing looks like a bit crazy. But at the end of the day, Noach is saying to them, I'm taking action. What are you doing? What are you? I'm acting based on the word of God. What are you doing? So he says, you can't protect yourself against the wrath of God. He goes there, he says, Tanya, mabul koshem kishichvas zera. That literally the waters of the mabul were as difficult, or also as shichvas zera. Shnemar, nochal lemo'adai regel. So we'll say whatever this means, it was called as shichvas zera. They obviously couldn't breathe in it, they couldn't escape it, whatever it was. Amar Rav Chisda, beroschin kilkulu, ba'avera, or beroschin nidonu. We'll say ultimately again, they were beroschin kilkulu, which also literally means with boiling water. With boiling water, they committed averos, and with boiling waters, they were judged. Shabbosai, again, seems to also be a reference to the zera, the shechvas zera idea, that the roschin represents, again, not necessarily the temperature of the zera, but ultimately, again, the passion of the individual. So it was 7 days, and again, the waters of the mabul were on the earth. So we'll say, remember again, God speaks to Noach, and then 7 days later, the waters of the mabul come. Why 7 days? We'll say, as I said before, the mabul couldn't come until Mesushalach died. So Mesushalach died, because Baruch Hu allowed humanity to sit shiva, so to say, to mourn for Mesushalach, and then he brings the flood. That the ability to eulogize the righteous prevents punishment from coming on the world. Davar acher l'shivas sheshina aleim HaKadosh Baruch Hu seid bereshis. So we'll say 7 days represents the idea that God changed the laws of nature. Shaisachama yotes mimarav b'shakas hamizrach. The sun would rise in the west and set in the east. Davar acher. So we'll say the idea being HaKadosh Baruch Hu changes the laws of nature in the days leading up to the flood to show the people this is serious. The world is about to undergo a dramatic change, and it's not too late. It was actually quite beautiful. You know, the beginning of Baruch Hu gave man a number of years. While Noach was constructing the Teva, all of those years were years in which what? The 120 were years in which people could have repented. So even once that period ends, Baruch Hu still gives them one last period of tshuva, another 7 days. We'll say the great Rachmanis, it's like a parent. It's like a parent whose child is misbehaving. So what does the parent say? I'm going to give you one more chance. So of course, it's probably bad parenting, but all of us do it because we never really just give one more chance, right? Why? Because you have Rachmanis on your kid. Rachmanis on your kid. Baruch Hu has Rachmanis on us. I'll give you 120 years, but after that, I'm going to give you another 7 days. But this is it. It's actually quite beautiful. What does it mean 7 days? During those 7 days, Baruch Hu blessed humanity with a little taste of the world to come, in an effort to show them what they would lose if they would not go ahead and get their act together. with hope that if they had that taste of Olam Haba, that would encourage them ultimately to change their lives. So the Gemara goes right to Mikol Behema Torah Tikach L'Chol Shiva Shiva Ish V'Ishto. So the pasuk says from animals, you should from the animals that would be kosher, take seven pairs, man and his wife, meaning spouses. So the Gemara says, Ishos of Amy. You say, why does it already use lashon of marriage of Ishos by animals? Animals obviously don't have marriage. I will say what it means is from the animals who were pure, the animals who did not engage in any type of illicit behavior. In other words, only animals who did not mate out of their species were allowed into the table. So Gemara says, so how is Noach supposed to know which animals made it in the species, outside of the species? This is amazing. So only the animals who remained pure to their species were absorbed by the table. Rabbi say, the table is not just a boat. The table, we spoke about this, the table was more like the womb of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So only those animals who were pure were allowed in, but those animals who had made it outside of the species were not allowed into the table. Only the animals, Rabbi say, who would be allowed in the teva were the ones who came into the teva. The other animals who had committed or engaged in immoral conduct did not even attempt to enter into the teva. So Kadosh Baruch Hu tells Noach, make for yourself a teva atze gofer. My gofer. We'll say these are different types of cedar wood. Tsar tasa teva. Yishmi katzar. What's a tsar? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Noach. Kava ba'avanim tovos amraglios. Shikadesh you meiros lem kitzar tzarayim. We'll say so. Tsar, according to the Gemara, are precious stones. He said to him, use precious stones, make it essentially as a window, so those precious stones could conduct the light in order to illuminate the teva. Well, and I will say the top of the teva had a rooftop that was only one amma of flat surface. The rest was sloped. Because I will say that will allow this will allow the teva to exist. I will say by having a pitched roof, it allows the water to slide off the sides. Tachtiyim, shniyim, ushlishim tas. I will say make the teva a bottom level, a middle level, and an upper level. Tana tachtim lezel. The bottom level of the teva contain the garbage, and the middle level of the teva contained the animals. Al yonam la'adam. I will say the top level of the teva was for man. So I will say so remember again now. Fast forwarding to the end of the flood. So Noach sends out the Oref. He sends out the raven. Let's listen to this conversation. We actually made reference to this on Shabbos. So when Noach is about to send the raven, so the raven says the following to Noach: your master, you right? Kadosh Baruch Hu hates me, and you hate me, Noach. Why? Your master hates me because I, the raven, God only brought 2 from each non-kosher species. But yet, against me, it's only me and the female raven. But yet, again, from the kosher ones, he brought 7. And you, Noach, hate me. Why? Why are you sending me? Right? Why are you sending me? In other words, I'm part of the species, which there are only 2 on board. And yet you don't send one of the species of the kosher animals, from which there are 7. And what's going to happen? In Paul Geapi Sarchama O Sartzina, Lo Nimtsa Olam Chaser Achos. So the raven says to Noach, if I die because of the extreme heat and the extreme cold, then what happens to my species? The species dies out as well. So why? Meaning, so obviously, Kadosh Baruch Hu hates me, you hate me. Oh, or maybe you've set your eyes on my spouse, or maybe you've set your eyes on the female raven and you desire her. Maybe that's why you're going ahead and sending me out so that I do die and you have my wife. Amarlo Rasha. So Yonah says, you Rasha, speaking to the raven. Noach says Rasha. I am not permitted to be with my own wife. You think I desire your wife? So how do we know that the human beings on the teva were prohibited from engaging in marital relations? You will come to the teva. So if you notice in the pasuk, men are listed and then women are listed. They're listed separately. The idea is that they were separated in the teva. When it comes to leaving the teva, it says You, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives. The idea being that it's referenced as couples, not as men and women. From here, we see that when they were on the teva, they were not permitted to engage in relations. The idea is that as mankind was being wiped out, it would have been inappropriate for them to engage in the pleasurable act of relations. There are three entities, or three things, three creations that did in fact engage in relations on the teva. The kulam lakwa, and they were all punished. Two are the three: Kelev, the dog; Orev, the raven; and Cham, the son of Noach. Kelev nikshar. So I said ultimately again, the dog is punished. That the dog is an animal that is tied up. So I said the idea that the dog is tied up ultimately again is a punishment for the fact. I will say it's a midah kineged midah. The dog acted in an unrestrained fashion. Therefore, again, its punishment is that it's constantly restrained. Orev rak. So I said the orev, the raven, goes out and spits. So according to Rashi, it seems that the way the raven procreates is that it spits zera into the mouth of its mate. I don't know. I didn't Google the procreate. I was nervous to do that. I didn't know what would come up. Right. But if you have a filter, please, go ahead and Google. Let's see what comes up. So whether that means ultimately again it literally procreates like that, or just whatever, it's just spits at its mate. Next, and Cham laka ba'oro. We'll say Cham was stricken with his skin. Right, his skin ultimately again became diseased or changed color. So then what happens? Noach then sends the dove. He sends the dove to see if the waters receded or not. From here we see that the natural habitat of kosher birds ultimately again is with the tzaddikim. And then remember again, the Yonah comes back with the olive branch. I would rather have bitter food from you, because most of the olive branch itself is bitter. I would rather have bitter food that comes from you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But let them not be sweet and come from us. The Yonah was saying, I would rather be reliant on you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, than ultimately again be reliant on man, even if man can give me the finest of delicacies. My masha the high taraf lishon de mizoniu. But how do we know that the lashon of taraf means the lashon of mizonos? T'chsiv hatrifeni lechem chuki. Lemishpechoseim yatzu min hateva. So they went out according to the times of the teva. Am Rabbi Yochanan lemishpechosam velo heim. So we'll say ultimately again, if you look at Rashi, lemishpechoseim yatzu min hateva, left hand side, Amo kol chad v'chad b'fnei atzmo haya v'lo haya ochlen kulam ba'avos echer. We'll say so the way the Gemara is going to dash this puzzle. We're going to stop with this for today. The Gemara is going to dash this puzzle. We'll say is that when on the teva, lemishpechoseim, each animal was given its own treatment. Meaning each animal was taken care of in accordance with its own particular needs. Let's go stop over here for today. We'll pick up with more of the teva narrative tomorrow.